Hi everybody, welcome to the stream. So tonight is my first night coding on Twitch live. I'm trying to do the meetup also. So I might have some issues, but no worries there. So I'm just going to close this Twitch link here and hit continue. Okay, welcome to the chat room. I apologize if this is going to be a little bit delayed, just because I have never really done Twitch before. Not only chat. Almost only mode. Interesting. I don't want shield mode on. Okay. Channel modes. No first time chatters. Mode only chat. Sorry. Let me pull this over here. I didn't even think about that. But so if anybody's in the room, feel free to send a message. I think this is working. Oh, that's kind of neat. Okay. Oh, I bet I can type it over here. Over here. Looks the same. Cool. Chat highlight settings. Interesting. Okay. So if I wanted to add in another layer. Oh yeah, I feel like they say don't add in music because then potentially you're going to add in a source that is not necessarily royalty free. So that is interesting. So this is what I'm doing over here. This is like Twitch Studio Beta. So I have a secondary monitor, and I didn't want to bring it over here because it just gives me a headache when I see like that infinite effect, and then it kind of like lags behind. But yeah, so I'm just trying to get everything into position. I can move this around a little bit. Figure out where that needs to go, and we can get started. So I'm going to hit save, and I'm going to hit record. Hi everybody, this is Ben Merriman. So this is the first week of doing Twitch streaming instead of on Zoom. So I think that with Twitch, we might be able to get kind of a different kind of interaction going on. And so, yeah, I'm looking forward to how this is going to play out. I will potentially be creating a side Zoom room. So let me know in chat if anybody is joining who is a part of the meetup. I think I'm going to try and open up my Zoom room, and I'll probably post that link down in the chat. Oh, hey, I see some people popping into chat. I apologize. How is it on Twitch? I figured that Twitch was like at least like popular enough that it was not going to be difficult for people to use this. Are you guys here from the meetup group? Oh, cool. All right, can you guys hear me fine? I think I'm gonna try and get a Zoom room started up on the side, so that you guys can chat if you want to. But oh, that is great to hear. Cool. But right now, in the past when we've been doing these, I don't know if you guys are return meetups or not. But in the past when we've been doing these, people often kind of wouldn't interact very often, and nobody would really speak up. And so I was thinking that it might be better if I just did what I'd been doing for the past 10 weeks and just coded on Twitch. And then, and to be honest, this is my first time on Twitch, but just coded on Twitch and then just also started up the Zoom room. And then you guys just could optionally decide if you wanted to talk or not. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to start a new meeting. Use my personal ID. This is probably like the worst way to do this, but so yeah, I figured as much. If I there you guys go. So I'll be watching that. I think I should have the audio from Zoom. So if you guys want to join that Zoom call and then just try talking, that might be the best way. But anyways, if you guys don't want to join the Zoom call, but either way, like whatever. I'm just gonna get started and continue on with recording. First of all, thank you guys so much for joining. I am definitely new to this, and so I am just trying to figure out like how to kind of code out loud and try and build some groups when I'm doing like web only. Oh, hey, thanks, Luke. Sorry. Thanks, Luke. I don't want to say your last name in case you don't want me to say it. I know that some people who join the Zoom calls. Oh, sorry. What was that? Oh, I thought I heard you. Huh. I wonder if that's a personal audio problem. Give me a second. That's still working. Hey, Luke, did you say something? Fair enough. What the heck just happened? Oh my gosh. See, this is like what the goofiness is. I don't even know what like Twitch is doing in my activity feed right now. But anyways, let's get started. So I said in the meetup that we're going to be starting on FizzBuzz. One thing. Oh, hi there. Hey, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hey.
Oh, you can hear me now. Great.
Ah, cool. Champ.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. Is it out of sync? It might be out of sync a little bit because like the Twitch.
Your mic is muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I test my mic? I'm not sure if you can hear me.
I think the problem
Testing.
is Zoom plus Zoom, Twitch.
Testing.
Right. I hear you, but can you hear me now?
Testing, testing,
Can you hear me now?
testing, testing. The heck is going on? Okay, okay. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you now. Sorry. That was yeah. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm from Bayside, New York. Hi. Uh, no. I actually just found it through meetups. I've just been trying to network a little bit more. Um, yeah. Okay.
Can you still hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can.
Okay. Let me see. Add. Can you still hear me? This is gonna just be like a testing session. I am so sorry. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So I need to add a webcam. This is such an interesting game. Screen share, webcam, add.
Yeah, it's like there's like a consistent like echo of everything we've been saying.
Uh, is it better if I just leave it on Twitch purely? I guess like if it's already coming through Zoom, I just work. Hmm. So if I here, I'll mute Zoom and type. So if I here, I'll mute Zoom and type. So if I here, I'll mute Zoom and type.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because I think the video is just the Twitch is delayed. So as long as the Twitch is muted for me, I can hear you like normally, like it's like regular real time. Yeah. I mean, so is it usually that you do a leak code question and you guide them, or do they do separate questions, or how does this usually work? This is my first time, that's why I don't know. Mhm. Hmm. Always on top. Hmm. Ah, okay. That makes sense. Oh, okay. So you're not like you're not a instructor for with them. Okay. Mhm. Like a study group kind of thing, right? Oh, cool. Mhm. So is this program is it like a full stack program? So oh yeah, no, I know LeetCode. I was talking about the flat iron. Hmm. That's interesting with the Ruby. Because a lot of these boot camps, they tend to be always like, like a Mern or Mean or, like all those like Mongo type of databases or like Python or something. But yeah. Mern is MongoDB, Express, React, and Node. And mean is just Angular. That's the replacement. There's the lamp stack. That's like Linux, Apache. I don't remember all the rest of that acronym, but yeah, these are just different stacks. But yeah, Ruby on Rails, that's actually that's a moneymaker right there. Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but your chat is saying that you're muted and that they can't hear you. Yeah.
But I'm gonna try to unmute this. Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. If you want to join the Zoom chat, you're more than welcome to. Also, hi. Student of Twitch here. Yeah. So, hello. Hey. Yes. Zoom link. Sorry about that. I can post it. I'm not sure if you're coming from the meetup or not, but either way, more the merrier. Okay. No, that's cool. I feel like these are some of the things that I wish they covered more of in the boot camp. Is it feels like they are so into. Oh, this is probably gonna cause echo, isn't it? Give me a second. Let me put in some headphones, because then at least you're not gonna get the feedback on the Twitch.
We're not getting the echo right now. When you were talking on the Twitch, I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either. Yeah, I think it's okay for you to have yours unmuted.
Oh,
perhaps.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Well, we'll see.
I mean, as long as it doesn't bother you, if it's.
Yeah. I mean, like, to be honest, like, I used to record these on Zoom, but now, like, I'm literally just experimenting with the format with Twitch, to see if, like, maybe this can, like, draw more people in, and more interactions. But, like, this is great so far. Like, I would say, like, 6 is the biggest we've ever had, and so, but thank you, Luke, for bringing up all these stacks. And like, I feel like this is one thing that Flatiron hasn't done as good of a job about, like, really teaching you to explore the wider area of software, because I feel like they so want you to think about, like, that Flatiron, already has, like, the correct curriculum for you.
Well, I mean, I don't want to critique boot camps, but like I've actually had to talk to other people who have been going through these boot camps, and they seem to all mention similar things, which is just like, and even for me, when I was taking a camp, I did a program close by. It was a community college program. Like they're just in a hurry to give you, like, teach you these like fundamental basics, and then they don't really tell you about like how these things work together, and more importantly, they don't really tell you how businesses, how companies like utilize these things.
Oh, for sure.
And I found that to be really frustrating, and I actually had to do a lot of this research on my own to find out all about all these things. So like,
Right.
even like the MERN stack, the mean stack, these are just like popular stacks that some companies go to. There's actually a website you can go to. I think it's called something tech stack, and it tells you what every company uses, like what their stack is. Could find out. Oh yeah, stackshare.io. So
That looked like the best one to me. Yeah.
yeah. So like they basically just, they tell you like these mid-level companies or the bigger companies, they tell you what their stacks are. And it's just like, I just put in chat the link.
I must have been here at some point. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it's a little frustrating because a lot of times with the boot camps, they tend to go towards things that are popular now, but it's not necessarily the languages that you're going to be using, like like to get a job. Like for instance, right now, I'm actually looking for a job right now. I'm at that point in my I don't know journey.
Yeah.
But like majority of junior developer positions are all like looking for C sharp. They're like looking for like PHP, like they're it's like stuff that's like when I was looking at boot camps were like discouraged. Like they're like, no, learn React, learn, like they were very like trying to get you to go in this one direction when like when if you look at how the job markets are like they're clearly going towards other languages. So it could be a little frustrating. I mean, like learning JavaScript, learning HTML, CSS, those things, learning Node, this is all really important. Like this is stuff that like all developers know, so that's definitely worth continuing to go
Yeah.
for. Same thing with Ruby, but like I think that it would really help if they talked a little bit more about the additional stuff that you might need to know.
Right.
Like for instance, like Kubernetes or like Docker or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like that is what like gets me sometimes is that there's just like this disconnect it seems between like what the wider world of tech is doing and like I don't know if they're just trying to like give us the steps, the small steps to get up to it, and they don't want to like overwhelm us with like the wider world of it. But
Hmm.
it's so like loud, like anytime you go to YouTube or anywhere that you're just like, I'm missing out. Like I've heard these words, like, and so like
Right.
why? But like they just I feel like want to like get you through like the 101, 102 stuff that sometimes you're like, I think I need to know more than this to like get.
It would be nice
Really
if they
go.
just at least gave you some kind of information,
Yeah.
like session kind of thing, where like they just at least gave you stuff, even if it's not you're not at that time learning it. It would be nice to like be learning about like just at least find out like, oh, what are build tools? What is the different types of unit testing that I need to know? What is like what would be the life cycle? Like you hear about Agile, you hear about Scrum, and you're like, oh, what is that? I don't know what that is. But then like every single company is asking you to know what that is. So, like even just giving us some important terms, I think that that would be really helpful for people. So I mean, that's my 2 cents. Like I said, I only went through that program. It was at QCC. It was only for a few months. So like, I don't know exactly how it is for
Yeah.
the boot camps, but I've actually tutored someone who was like, I think they did Coding Dojo or something. It was one of those really big ones,
Right.
and they mentioned that similar problem. So
Hmm.
yeah, it could be a little bit of a hassle.
Yeah. No, I mean like I am open and I mean I have more of a background than I think the average student. And so I'm hoping that I'll be able to parlay like the years I've done like in engineering at other places, into something hopefully but worst comes to worst, I'll just fall back to something but
I'm sure that'll help you. I mean, like I think that that's kind of how like when I talked to some people that I knew,
mm,
they tended to use stuff from their background experiences. I had one friend who knew stuff about data, but then he had taken a boot camp too. He did front end stuff, and then he was struggling to find a job, but then someone hired him for his data stuff, and then when he was hired for that data stuff, he wasn't making as much, but because of that data stuff, when a project did come up, oh yeah, I need some help with some front end stuff. It feels like, oh, I have some experience with HTML. I could help you out with that. And then like that helped his portfolio, and then eventually he got picked up by Spotify. So like, just having some kind of in,
yeah.
I think is what's important.
Yeah.
Like I mean that's what I'm kind of struggling with myself, like just trying to figure out what my in is and just kind of trying to figure out how to network my way into these positions because yeah, it's rough out here.
Yeah.
Because of the whole everything ever since the whole Twitter situation. Yeah, it's been pretty rough to finding a junior developer position. So
No,
yeah.
I mean I can only imagine, and like this is like this is the place for it. Like this is the place to be honest and try and figure out like what the path forward is. Like I mean like this is my path. Like trying to do these videos, trying to see if like, making a community like will work and like eh, maybe. It doesn't seem to hurt.
Yeah, I mean, networking is really important when it comes to this stuff. I feel like, especially because so much of this is self-taught. Like, you're like, yeah, you're doing a boot camp, but at the same time, you'll probably end up doing at least some kind of tutorials or some type of education from online. So a lot of it you end up doing by yourself. So you spend a lot of time in your head about how things should be going. So yeah, I mean, talking to other people who are maybe not they're not exactly in the same point in their job situation,
Right.
it's still probably helpful. Yeah.
Yeah. It's been good. And then just like practicing and seeing how other people code. A lot of this has just been kind of like a study room, for like, going through the boot camp. Yeah, I hope to like transition this into, and I don't know what I'll rename the group to, but I'll probably rename the meetup group because really there's not really much association to Flatiron anyways. Like there's no need for it. Actually,
Have most of your people been like Flatiron people?
no. I wonder though, and I feel like it's disingenuous. Disgenuous?
Disingenuous.
There we go. Thank you.
I'm an English major.
Chemical engineering. Like, and so like, it's. I feel like it's disingenuous to call it Flatiron software. Like, maybe like boot camp. Online learning.
I mean, does anyone else like? Does anyone else? I mean, do you recognize the other people in here? Have they gone through a similar situation? I'm just curious.
Hey, Will.
Hi.
Hi.
I went to General Assembly for my boot camp, and I think that the value of the boot camp was really the networking after the fact. It just seemed like it seemed like the point of the boot camp itself is to get you a job, right? So like if they don't succeed in doing that, I don't think they're doing their job that well. Because once you get to your first job, then you learn a ton. So it's like just getting your foot in the door somewhere is super important. So I really hope that. I mean, I don't know what your experience is right now or where you're at, but yeah, I mean, the hardest part is landing that first gig, and then you learn a ton of stuff, and it becomes a little bit easier. So I hope that I hope that things start opening up for you guys. And the General Assembly boot camp was great because we did non-relational database stuff and relational database stuff in the same cohort. So that was valuable. But you're right, because there's so much you need to learn that you can't do it in 12 weeks or 16 weeks or whatever. So they really just try to touch on everything that the industry that's like up in the industry now, so that when you interview, you kind of at least sound like you know what you're talking about a little bit. So yeah, I understand. It was frustrating for me. It took me a couple months out of my boot camp to get a job. So I guess I was lucky that
So what?
Anyways,
no, sorry, I don't mean to take. Is it weird to take notes on the screen? Like I feel like it might be, but like, so you went to Galvanize. When did you graduate?
I went to General Assembly.
General Assembly. That's right.
Yeah.
Galvanize is Hack Reactor, right?
I don't know it actually.
I gotcha. General Assembly. And so, what was the stack that you guys learned?
We did different units, and the way, I guess, the first two units were kind of like JavaScript heavy and React heavy. So this was React, React and Ruby on Rails actually. And it only so basically we did a MERN stack, for one of the units, and then we also did a unit with Ruby as the back end, as the server, and then React as the front end. So that was cool. Yeah. So it kind of touched on all those things. So I liked it. And the networking was like, I don't know where you guys are, if you're in boot camps now or whatever, but
yeah, I'm in week 10. Yeah.
Week 10. Okay, cool. So
I'm
yeah,
looking for a job.
for a job. Okay. Oh, you're out of the boot camp. You're out of the boot camp. Yeah.
I did a boot camp in March, and then I just did some projects, and then I took some time off. I was actually tutoring for a while, but
You should go back to wherever you went for a boot camp and see if they have. I don't know if you've been going through recs that they have or if they're.
well, I mean, the problem is that because it's a community college, like it's a CUNY, which is City University of New York. That's what that stands for. Like I think it's a little bit more limited than like they had given recommendations, but it moves so quickly in terms of the recs that they had. It wasn't that great. So did you actually are you working right now? It sounded like you were.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I've been working for about a year now. I just have also been trying to just, or am starting to, I haven't been to a meetup in a long time, to network as well, just like you said earlier. So I think, yeah, it's always valuable no matter where you are to do this kind of, to meet up with people and talk to people and do that kind of thing. So, yeah, so I started my boot camp in May of 2021. And so then it ended, so the end of the summer. So that's how long it's been since I've been in the industry. I was like a sound engineer before in New York, actually, before this. So,
like what were they? Sorry to interrupt. Like when it came to time to get like hired, what were they looking specifically for like General Assembly applicants? Like were they open to that kind of thing, or was it because of like your resume that like what was the thing that got you the job? If it's okay to ask.
That's okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't think I had also been like, I had a little bit of experience, not professionally, but like, I had dabbled in coding beforehand. So it wasn't, so I was, so I guess a little bit ahead of the class as well, because a lot of them were beginners.
Sure.
So there was that, but also, yeah, there was basically just like a Slack channel with a bunch of job recs. They have a lot of partners, so a lot of the recruiting people for some of these companies are in touch with people from General Assembly, and you can go. There's got to be some kind of portal or something that where they have job listings. Maybe at CUNY. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. But I just dropped someone's name that I didn't even really know. She posted in this channel, and then I said, "Oh yeah, what's her name from General Assembly? Says you got this job opening. I think you'd be perfect for it." Blah blah blah. I had to. I mean, every time, I'm sure you've been doing this too, but every time I would apply for a job, I would cater like a letter, like I would cater to my resume and everything to like what stack was,
Yeah.
and what was going on there. So you have to. It's like a full-time job. It was a full-time job.
Right.
Try to get a job. Yeah.
Did you do rounds, or did they just like did you just do like an interview?
I was lucky. I did the initial interview, and then I met like the man who would eventually be my manager. And then I met with two of the senior devs and just like went over like something I had made, which happened to be the same stack as that they used, which I didn't even realize, which helped. So I guess it was a little bit of luck, but a lot of it was that one post that I saw in General Assembly Slack channel, and that was it. So it's just, you just got to keep going, man, and it'll, eventually, like, definitely build stuff on your own. I'm sure you've been doing that just to get your resume going. But when you're landing your first job, soft skills are going to pay off quite a bit. Like as far as like the interview goes, like if you can make sure that during an interview you don't pretend like you know everything, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I did a lot of.
Not that you do that. Not that you do that. I'm not saying.
No. But, I get what you're saying. Sorry to just keep asking. It's just that
I don't want.
This is the first time I spoke with someone who's a junior developer.
Okay, I'm sorry, Ben. I know you wanna.
Oh no, this is the best. Like literally, this is the best. Like this is what I wanted this to be from the very start. But like, there just wasn't people joining, And so I feel like there's finally like a density now to like have people having conversations. And so like, if anything, I'm like, yes, you guys keep on talking, and I'll send out the new name for the group, and
Nice. Oh, good. We're giving you some time to get stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, these are just like specific questions that I really wanted to ask like
Sure.
first time developers, but like
If
I
anybody wanted
don't,
to
all the
test
people I
something,
knew
though,
were doing other stuff. So
quick time out though.
yeah.
If anybody has like some setup that would allow them to like look on their phone while this is going to see if like on Twitch, if this is just like nothing or if like you could still pick up the audio. I think it picks up the audio from you guys talking and just like passes it through, but like I don't know, and I don't really care about the Twitch side because
it is picking it up. It's just delayed. I just turned on my audio just now and I noticed it's like it's off by like a minute.
Well, who cares? Yeah, like when we're all that way.
Interesting. That's interesting to me, like why it's delayed like that. So like and where's the latency? Like where is it happening? You know?
Yeah.
Well, that is a good question.
I appreciate the test. I'll keep on finishing this contact message about like the name change, about problems in networking. SESPAN. That's a cool acronym. SESPAN. Yeah. Anyways, I'll actually mute myself here and let you guys just chat. So.
No,
you're good. You're good.
Okay.
I'm trying to do fizz. I'm trying to do fizz buzz at the same time. So sorry, Luke.
Oh no, that's fine. It's just yeah. I just had one burning other question and then I'll stop bugging you about these. So after your rounds and after you got hired, I'm assuming that you went through some kind of like orientation period, like they explain, because like obviously you joined a company, you're about to start working with the team and stuff, so like you need to be oriented. But in that situation, was it like I'm kind of like suffering right now from a form of imposter syndrome, where like I'm like, do I know enough? Do I not know enough? What the hell am I doing? Kind of thing. So I'm just like wondering like how high is the learning curve when when it comes to starting working there?
Oh, it's really high. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It depends on where you're working, but like yeah, it's gonna be like it's gonna be overwhelming at first, but also most companies like give you they really give you a ton of mentorship and a ton of, if you're at a good company, and like a ton of like you have a mentor most likely, and like a ton of senior engineers that are like it's their job to like help you out, so that's cool. But it's you just do a ton of learning. Like I said, you just learn a ton. You will learn, like, don't worry about trying to learn it all now. Just worry about what's going to get you the job, and then once you get into the job, like you're going to just learn so much. So
well, that's one of the questions, because like every time I look at these like job ads, they're asking for so much stuff, all these like crazy things that like until you work with a team, like for instance Jira, like why would I be using Jira if I'm not part of a team? Like that's like Trello or any of these other like talking with working together type of like agile type of stuff. So it's like do you I guess my question is like in terms of what they're actually like expecting you to be qualified for, even though the listings on it just seems like it's impossible to hit all the qualifications. So
that's like any job though. There's always gonna, in the job description, they're gonna put in like their ideal person that they that they want, but that doesn't that shouldn't deter you from applying, because you can like it's like I'm trying to think, like it's that way with all these other jobs too, that you have to go into the office or whatever, where or like for example, a chef, when they're hiring a chef, they're like, we want you to have like 10 plus years of experience in like New York City or whatever, and like this and that, and like if you can go in there and prove that you know what you're doing, you probably get hired anyways, even if you don't have that experience. So don't let that deter you too much from like applying to places, and like just cater your resume as good, like as well as you can, to what they're looking for. That's all.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of more like the languages and frameworks, like that's like focus more on that than the extra stuff you were saying.
Um, Perhaps. I mean, if you're looking for, I mean, if you, what languages did you learn in your boot camp?
Uh, well, I mean, I learned the stuff in the boot camp, but then I also worked on stuff on my own. So like I have some, it's like HTML, JavaScript, CSS, like Sass, React, like that kind of stuff. Mongo, I learned PostgreSQL.
So you've learned like non-relational, like
Yeah,
algebra,
yeah. So
JavaScript.
yeah, yeah. So
Okay, cool. So you
so cool.
so you're more comfortable with like Express, like the back end, like in Node, and
Yeah, yeah. I can handle Node and Express and that style, but I also have a background in like WordPress, so I know some PHP and that kind of stuff. But
I know you don't want to hear about React, or at least like I'm sure people have been telling you like about like learn React and all that, but like it is really popular, and it's not going to go away in the next 10 years. I don't
oh
think.
yeah, yeah, it is extremely popular. It's just what's been happening for me, especially for New York, at least in terms of the junior developer positions that I've been seeing, is that like it's always like sorry, I'm just turning off something. It's always that they're like not looking for React, like they're looking for like Angular or like or C sharp like the .NET. So that's why I started getting like turned off by it, even though I spent majority of my time like
Yeah.
learning React. And I guess that's why I kind of got discouraged when it came to that. But yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's and React isn't perfect,
Yeah,
but
I mean, all the third-party libraries and all that kind of stuff. So.
yeah. So that's why usually companies that use it they adhere to like only like you can't just like download a package and use it if it's like unless it's really small or whatever. But yeah, they stick to certain libraries and stuff. Anyways, yeah, I think you just keep at it, man. You'll just don't stop. You know what I mean? Keep applying, keep applying, keep applying.
Right, right.
Hands are up.
No,
Okay, I finally finished all the updates, so now it's weekly code along on Twitch, and we're going crazy. So, new name, rebirth, January. Luke's getting jobs. Will's giving us all jobs. No.
Yeah, I wish. Yeah. I'm still way at the bottom too. Don't forget, like just started. So yeah.
Yeah. No, I appreciate the conversation. It was hard it's hard typing and trying to like process what you guys were saying because like there's a lot of good information in there around it. So um that that's like the hardest part that I think I'm worried about. And the part that I feel like is maybe very lightly glossed over right now. Other than like with like these seminars and these other pieces, that I don't feel like really cover the enormity of the job switch that's going on in a lot of people's lives. But I don't know how you cover it other than providing more conversations and trying to figure out what the heck's going on. And like I don't know, like I wish there was like networking events offered by like at least my coding bootcamp, Flatiron, with actual industry people. Like literally we're 10 weeks in now and I'm yet to talk to like one industry person, like whether they be a Flatiron alumni or like a person on the inside like speaking as like a former person. Like all the stuff that I've seen has all been geared towards just marketing towards getting new students, and I'm just like, what's going on? Like,
well,
yeah.
when is your thing over? Like when do you finish
February
your?
17th.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe they give you that stuff at the end because
Yeah.
that's actually how mine was, and I think the coding dojo one, that's what they did too.
Yeah.
Like that's actually one of their ways of keeping people on board.
Mm.
Like is like, oh yeah, we have all these contacts and stuff waiting for you,
Mm.
kind of thing. So maybe that's the reason why you haven't heard from them yet.
I gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, and it is what it is. Like they have a process, and like they know that it will allow them to get so many people through, and so like I think you're right. Like it's just don't activate it until they need to, but it's just nerve wracking. Like especially when I'm like, I don't know, I'm a go getter, like, and I'm trying to like get ahead of the game a little bit and like make sure that like 5 weeks from now, like that I hopefully have, or like maybe not 5 weeks, but like 6, 7, 8 like weeks from now, I have a job offer. But here's hoping.
Yeah, I just have a pretty pessimistic outlook on this. I've been doing this for 2 years now, so it's been actually a pretty long while for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be more offers for you. You know, once the thing's over. If nothing else, like just trying to find more networking opportunities is probably a good idea. I mean, I found a couple of these meetup stuff that's coming up. So
Yeah. No, I think creating, any kind of noise you can. Like, that's kind of the name of the game. I feel like right now is just like doing something to try and.
Speaking of which, how's the LeetCode stuff going?
Good.
I didn't see any of your previous stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah. So what I like to do is I have a LeetHub extension, which actually kind of sucks because it requires me to use the old interface for LeetCode. So if you're using LeetCode, you probably don't have like this glaring white over here. You can click this new button. The only reason I'm using the old version is because I use an extension called LeetHub.
You're pushing it to GitHub.
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And so they have the issue on the way. So if you look at 366, they figured out what the problem is. Like they updated their UI about 2 months ago. And so they just need to fix this. But like for right now, if like you wanted to use LeetHub, you just need to use the old version of it for it to auto update with the LeetHub Firefox extension. And so I highly recommend this. And this is actually a Chrome native thing. If you wanted to use this on Chrome, which I know most people, for the percentages at least, use Chrome. But I'm a big Firefox proponent, and Firefox has this excellent one called LeetHub, and that will auto sync your LeetHub problems when you're solving them. Anyways, so these are the only 2 problems I've solved so far, by the way. So, two-sum and reverse integer. But if you wanted to see that, I guess I can post this in chat. First timer.
There's I mean, LeetHub is good because like you can use their interface and push the code and stuff. But if you ever want to try other ones, like CodeCamp has one. I think Code Academy you have to pay for. And then there's a couple of walkthroughs of some of the easier LeetCode questions on YouTube. Like a bunch of people have like channels where like they have playlists where they just go through it. I find that's a little helpful.
Oh yeah, for sure. So you're saying like, for like walking you through them.
Yeah, for walking through the free code camp, that one, that's actually just a collection that they have. I just find that I know that LeetCode, like, you can look at solutions like later, but if you don't want to mess with your score or something, you could be just doing it on there to do some practice. And what's also good for some of them is that they're a little easier questions, because I know that LeetCode, some of them can be a little rough. So like if you're just practicing, maybe you're just like reversing a string or something.
Sure.
They're like good warm-ups.
Nice. Oh yeah. I know I can't remember if it was Code Wars. Code Wars was the one that I really liked lately, and then there's another one called Execute Program, and I've really liked this one also. So Execute just has like a bunch of courses that you can take, and it just has like a neat breakdown of how it presents things and how it like has your review built into it. But I haven't gotten too far in these, but like I used to have it mirroring the class, but then I just felt like I was going so far ahead of these. But it's been helpful to learn TypeScript a little better because like
Yeah, TypeScript is huge.
yeah.
Like if that's what I've been running into a lot is just general, because the Angular is written in TypeScript. So like a lot of these, and also just in general, I feel like just JavaScript in general feels like it's going more towards statically typed. Like they're just trying to protect it from any type of bugs. So like basically if you're going to try to get hired in React, it seems like you have to know TypeScript.
Right.
So getting a head start on that is a good idea.
Yeah, and I've been doing a bunch of these certifications too, like for skills. I don't know if these are even like worth anything, you know, because I feel like it would be so easy if you wanted to cheat on any of these, but like they have these LinkedIn assessments that like apparently are worth something, you know. So I don't. Are you guys doing these at all? Like, do you feel like these are worth anything?
LinkedIn assessment?
Yeah.
I think I ran into it once. I don't actually know.
I gotcha.
If it's helpful, because the thing is, sometimes I do freelance stuff. So if you've heard of Upwork or Fiverr,
Yeah.
stuff like that, like with them they have certifications, and that actually helps you get more clients that way. So with that, there's a little bit more of it's helpful to get theirs, but I don't know about the linked skill assessments.
Yeah. So what do you do for Upwork? Like, are you just offering out your services as like, hey, I'll structure out like the initial bones of like a React app, or?
So how Upwork works is clients, they post what they want, and then like you would type in the search term like whatever skill that you want to offer your services in. So say for instance it's JavaScript, you would type in JavaScript, and then you would see a bunch of posts by clients who are like, oh yeah, you know, I have this project on JavaScript, I need to make like a button or something, or contact form, or you know, I need you to code this in. And then you would send in a proposal, and usually they get a group of proposals, and the client chooses between those, like which one they're going to take. It's kind of hard to get it just for straight up JavaScript. You probably have to put in like some kind of framework like React or jQuery or something like that. I tend to get more clients from there for WordPress. So like, you know, someone needs a site, someone needs like a page or something, and then they post there, and then yeah, you get hired. They take a fee, and
Interesting. No, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll have to look into those. I've heard
it's not
of
easy.
Upwork, but like yeah,
No.
I mean I never really thought about like even trying to like hop into these as like far as like just being able to. Like, but it makes sense.
It's good for resume building. It's good for resume building because you could actually say on your resume that you have professional experience. Because if you get paid doing the stuff in the thing that you're studying, then technically you're a professional. You are getting paid to do your work. So you could put that as your part of your resume.
Yeah, you're freelancing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's and that is exactly what you are doing. So it's there's no fibbing in that.
Yeah.
The only problem with that though is that like it's hard to get a project, like because like like say for instance a project gets posted, and then you send a proposal in. You can actually see the number of proposals that's been sent in, and sometimes it goes up to like 50 in like 2 hours. That means like 50 people were trying to get that job. So you have to be quick about it, and not only do you have to be quick about it, you need to make sure that your proposal to the person attracts the client. And yeah, so it has a snowball effect if you do enough. Like if you do enough, then your rating gets high, and then they're more likely to hire you. So, that's how people actually, there's people who work full time just off of Upwork.
Hmm.
But to do that, you need that snowballing effect. So until you get that snowballing effect, it's
Right.
actually pretty hard. So like that's kind of been what's my problem is that like it's very piecemeal. Like I would get some like one week I'd get like maybe something and then another week I don't get anything. And so it's very yeah. But the plus side is that if you can get it to work and you can get consistent clients, maybe like you're just really good at forms. Like you just knock the park out of the park on just making contact forms. And then you can just get a bunch of clients that way.
Hmm.
Then you can snowball and then you could just end up getting so many responses that you can't even respond to them quickly enough. So like
Right.
I've heard of success stories working out like that.
Yeah.
It's just yeah, starting off is a little difficult.
Oh, I can
But
see that.
it's a good way to make, try to build your resume. It's one of those things.
Nice. Yeah, no, I'll have to I really will like build out my profiles on those and try and do them a little more. Like I haven't really been thinking about like the post boot camp world too much yet, but I really do need to start like locking that down a little more. But for now, FizzBuzz. So to get into the actual programming that we were going to start all of this off with, I don't even know what this shield mode clear chat view for non-mods. I don't know what that means, but sure, we'll leave that on. But hey, if anybody else is also on the stream, I feel like there's a few other people on HPair and JMen. If either of you guys want to introduce yourselves, feel free. I'm going to start experimenting with FizzBuzz. I try to talk while I'm coding, but I will say that sometimes as I'm coding, I may go silent for a little bit. So feel free to hop in and chat if you want to. All right.
Hello?
Hey, hi. How you doing, J-Man?
You hear me?
Yep.
Oh, cool. All right. Well, that was easy. I just didn't have my mic plugged in all the way.
Nice.
Yeah, I guess I want to say thank you to everybody who's here because I've actually been picking up a lot of good tips from you guys.
Nice.
I'm currently doing a boot camp. It is Thankful, and I've only just started 2 months ago. We started back in November, mid-November.
Yeah.
So we kind of got into the part of networking. So we are to reach out and try to join different meetups and see what we can get out of them. So
Yeah.
this is one of my first meetups I've joined so far, and it's kind of nice to hear about what people are going through who have graduated from the boot camps and kind of the struggles that they faced in terms of searching for a job. Because from what I've heard so far, I mean, it's a lot of the issues that I've kind of been wondering about it as well when it comes to how many things they're asking about or they're asking you to know as you're applying for these jobs. And I'm sure they're not expecting you to know everything, but it can still be a bit overwhelming. So I find comfort knowing that I'm not the only one who's kind of seeing things through these eyes. So
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. What boot camp did you say you were going to?
Thankful.
Thankful. Nice. What are you learning at Thankful?
So it is I joined a program for software engineering, and I joined it originally because I was doing the Odin project as part of my own learning at the beginning of the year, and then I found out they were I think they were joined with Thankful with the boot camp. So I did some research, and it seemed like it was a pretty good boot camp in terms of what people were saying after graduation and stuff like that, and how much interaction you have with your mentors and the community. So I gave it a go, and so far it's been good. I'm only 2 months in, like I said. It's mostly based on JavaScript. So that's their main focus, is just trying to get you to learn as much JavaScript as they can. And yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I had a similar curriculum too, and so yeah, no, this is a great one to have joined. There's definitely been ones that have not had as many people or not had anybody talking. So it's
Yeah.
this was a good one where there was some really good conversation. So I'm glad that you were able to join, and good luck at Thankful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been challenging so far, but I'm still with it. I'm falling behind a bit, so.
Nice. Yeah. I would highly recommend like the late nights early to save late nights later. You know, like if you can get those like base level things, I don't know. It's it's hard. Like I feel like there were some times where like a late night like would make something click, and I felt like that was like foundational. But then there was other times where I would just skip stuff and then it would click later. So
Yeah, I want to say I'm more of a night owl, so
yeah,
I tend to learn better, I think, when it's really quiet around the house.
yeah.
Especially as I have a kid, and during the day she's kind of all over the place.
Oh,
But the only thing is that our mentor sessions, or I'm sorry, our thing chat, which you can ask professionals for help if you get stuck, it only runs until about 11 p.m. So if you're after that, you're on your own. So if you get stuck, it's just a lot of it can be a bit difficult to become unstuck. But
I gotcha.
mhm.
Yeah, yeah, I could see that. Yeah, I know that was a problem. I would say that like building things like this, or building like relationships with like other students, really helped me there. Like just being able to like reach out and talk to people and like feel comfortable slacking other people,
Mhm.
to ask. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I don't know if I think you say we're attending boot camp, right?
What's that?
Are you attending a boot camp currently?
Yeah, yeah. So I am currently in. Ooh, I wonder if I could post that up somewhere. I am currently in week 10 of Flatiron boot camp. Yeah.
Is that like an immersion course, or is that like a flex course? Like, do you have a cohort that
Yep, it's a
you do?
15 week. So yeah, so actually, I'll see if I can. Flatiron 15 week software engineering. That's so funny. That the first thing that it says, try coding dojo instead. That would be like, I mean, like the most premium spots would be the other ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, so it's 10 years, but it's a 15-week intensive.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll try.
Yeah, I joined my boot camp, and we had the option to either do an immersive. I mean, of course, like price-wise, it was a little more expensive than the flex program, which was, I want to say, a few thousand less. But the only difference was that, of course, the immersive you had the ability to join a cohort of about 15 people.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was kind of, if you got stuck, you were able to bounce ideas off of other people. And I
Mm-hmm.
ended up opting out for the flex. And
Yeah.
throughout my experience, I found that the Slack program really, it's actually quite dead.
Oh.
So there isn't a lot of communication. So I'll try to post on there as often as I can to see if there's anybody who's within the same
Yeah.
modules as I am, but it hasn't really worked out. So that's one of the things that I kind of wish I would have just gone ahead with the immersive, which was a cohort based one. So everybody's kind of on the same level of learning and can kind of bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's like the hard part is like what do you do if like your Slack is not active, or if you don't have
Hmm.
somebody that's like super wanting to reach out and like force people, because like even like our cohort lead, and I hate like I mean like I think it's just like a tough spot, like right, like if nobody wants to talk then like you can't really like force people to talk, but like as like the leader of like an online only cohort, like you still want to be like maybe it would be good if you force people to talk, or if like you're an
Right.
individual. But yeah, it's tough, and especially if it's not like an immersive like pushing one, because at least like I feel like because of like the amount. Oh, sorry, my dog is
You're good.
staticky, and he's making my one monitor turn off and on. But yeah, like it is just like difficult to like I don't know. to figure out what you're supposed to do, like to make people interact or to make people learn. You can't force people to learn, but like sometimes you're like, well, you kind of can, like these people
Hmm.
paid a lot of money to like, like get some pretty raw honesty and some pretty raw feedback about like their skill set and like whether or not like they're doing what it takes. And so, yeah, like I don't mind saying that like that
Yeah.
it does take like a certain level of like um honesty, I think, to be a teacher, and sometimes I feel like that is not always uh very well done.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But that this is the only boot camp experience I've had. I know some of the people that I've been with, like been students with, like they've gone to like 2 or 3 and like failed out of other ones, and so like, but I mean, that's that's crazy to me. But like I've also been pretty.
It's a lot of money to spend, so.
And Ben, I'm curious, is and J-Men too. Your
Don.
boot, what is it? Sorry,
Don.
Don. I'm sorry, man.
No, you're good.
I'm just curious. Do they have like like a job training sort of like, or sorry, interview practice, kind of like stuff like that at your boot camp? As far as like prepping you to get the like for the job and for the interview, is that part of the curriculum or no?
For Thankful, we do have that. It is a little bit towards the end. They have, of course, like the 100% tuition guarantee if you're like in good standards with them or whatever it might be. But after you're near the end of the program, you do have a few weeks of just training, interview training and stuff like that. And then after the program, they have 6 months where they help you with your resume, or with interviewing and whatnot. So you get that kind of help for 6 months after the program ends.
Okay, great. That's good. Okay, I just wanted. I don't know about Flatiron, but I would assume there's something like that at Flatiron.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So there is like the same equivalent like piece. And don't get me wrong, like I just like complaining also. Like I don't know, like you can improve anything, and like it's just online life is hard. I feel like a lot of companies are struggling with that right now.
Hmm.
But yeah, we have. I'm trying to remember. I think it's under this home screen. And yeah, like our whole career services, like chunk, and then there's like a whole hopping off point that it's kind of like split from like the main Flatiron section, and it goes over into like the Flatiron career services section, which I'm trying to remember where that is, but to be honest, I shouldn't be trolling through my bookmarks because this is probably what got me in trouble when sorry, I just had somebody like I think try to steal like my chase points, and I'm like, how? Where did they do it? Probably when I was like, sharing a stream on YouTube, and they were like, oh well, like we got half your information from your bookmarks up here, but yeah, they have a pretty good student assistance program. I can't give you the exact details on the job guarantee. I know it lasts for 12 months as far as the career services program. And you pretty much have to opt out or fail out. I know that they have some requirements as far as like meeting with like a counselor once a week, meeting and like showing that you're like actively like applying to jobs. And so like if you're gonna get that refund for the $16,000 you spent, like you're probably gonna be out more than that in a lot more than that in earnings. And I'm not planning on doing it that way. But
So yeah, that's great. Yeah, I was just making sure because definitely take advantage of that,
yeah,
and it's easy to like not want to pay attention to that stuff, and to just pay attention to like the coding stuff and not like the interview and the sort of like preparing questions and asking questions and things like that. Like that stuff is all super important. When they're interviewing you, they're going to want to hear you ask questions, all these things. So it is good to take some time, making sure you're prioritizing a little time for that as well. Yeah. So
Legit, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No, that's a great point.
yeah, it's super important because if they like you, that's another thing. I mean, obviously there's going to be like you'll probably have to show code or like demonstrate something and all that as well because they're not going to just take someone that just knows how to type in Microsoft Word, but if you're nice, but it's important. Yeah, it's important.
Right. Right. Yeah.
did everyone here do like programs? Or I guess is everyone here in the flex or software engineer program, or did people in here do different types of programs?
We all did different programs. Yeah,
Okay. So,
I've been or are doing. I have been out of my boot camp for about a year and some change now. So
okay.
Yeah. So I think both me and Will are in a different place than you guys are. So you guys are both in boot camps. Will is actually working. I am more in an independent realm, and I graduated from a boot camp program, but mine was really short, and it was from a city university. Ben, if you're talking,
Oh no,
I can't
sorry.
hear you. Because your lips were moving, so I wasn't sure.
When I'm programming, sometimes I'll like
Right, go
mouth
through
word-
it.
mouth-
No, I get that. That's actually a good trick, by the way. You know, when you do the coding interview, they actually want you to talk out loud of your code. So, that's actually a good thing, good practice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I came out of my program in March and it was very short. It was only like 3 months. But before that, I had already been coding for like a year by myself, like self-taught. And then after that, like I did a lot of like small, like independent types of jobs. So right now I'm in the spot of trying to actually get the job, and I think the issue that I'm having that you guys will hopefully won't have, considering you guys are coming from longer programs, is I'm having an issue of getting that connection to get hired. What had happened was right after I finished my program, some of the suggestions that were given by the city program was they were just not great. But I did like apply more. I applied for like a good like month and a half. And I did finally get some responses. I bombed one interview. It was actually awful. Like I think my coding question was pull the second largest number in the array. That was my coding question, and I totally bombed that. That guy was like, he was on Skype, and I could barely hear him. It sounded like he was outside. I'm like, you're basically you're interviewing me on a coding question outside. I can hear the cars passing by. So clearly,
He was driving.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Oh yeah. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I think it's my headphones.
Hello.
Yeah, but clearly he was like he had his own issues, just not being able to hear me. But yeah. So, other than that, I had a second one with the Shopify like company. Like they were doing some kind of it's like some kind of makeup company, and they were fine. Like actually my I don't have any fears about my soft skills. I was actually a teacher before in the past, so I know that I can communicate with people fine. So that wasn't an issue, and I think I would have gotten that job if I had moved on with it. But unfortunately, I got married and I ended up going to Korea for a while, so that was my problem. But yeah, that's kind of my situation right now. It's just I think that the whole hopefully, I mean, I don't think this is going to be a problem for you guys, but what I noticed in terms of the job market was that when Twitter happened and Amazon happened, like that kind of changed the job listings that I was seeing. Like I was seeing a lot less junior developer positions, a lot less entry level positions that were like traditional JavaScript, like HTML, that kind of stuff. And that's what made me a little nervous. But yeah, but it's sounding like from what Will's saying, it's sounding like that's not going to be as big of a problem for you guys.
Yeah, I was actually kind of curious about that as well, because I mean, after all the firings and stuff, there's still, I mean, everybody's got to work, right? So I was wondering how that was going to affect the job market in the sense of how many jobs are going to be left available, I guess, for the rest of us.
Yeah, because the problem that I was worried about when that happened was that's like 10,000 to like 50,000 highly qualified people who are now looking for a job. And that's like our competition now. So like that's where I was like a little worried about. But I mean, it's sounding like the mid-sized companies, it's not as big of an issue.
Mhm.
It's just I don't know. Maybe this is just my paranoia creeping up on me, but it just
Right.
it seems like the listings are a little different from before. But that's actually one thing that I would strongly suggest for everyone who's in here, minus Will, is like you should always like look at what job postings are up, because like that really gives you, because you know you're trying to get hired, so you should at least know what's going on with at least your area, you know, your region, and what they're looking for. I think that,
Yeah.
yeah, that would be my advice for today.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I
like,
rem-
oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I remember having that conversation with my mentor because I think it was at the height of all the firings going on and stuff. And I asked her, because she's currently a software engineer for a company, and I asked her if how that was impacting jobs out, especially for beginners like us who were who are eventually going to be on the search for a junior development job.
Right.
And she kind of made it out to seem like it was going to be okay. And I think I can believe that, just simply based on the fact that if you already have all those years of experience and then you got fired, chances are that you're looking to make a little more money than a junior developer would.
Mm.
And I think you'd be overqualified at that point. So there is some fear still. I'm not going to say there's not, but I think that made me realize that maybe it's going to be all right. Maybe it's moving up after your junior developer job is going to be the real trouble.
Right. I mean, you know, it's just it's an up and down situation, you know. It's the tech jobs that were affected, right? You know, the tech companies.
Yeah.
But like, you know, there's other industries that are hiring developers, you know, like the banking industry, the automobile industry, all these other hard industries. Because websites, you know, people are just using more and more of them. So it's not like the tech, like, you know, you're not, this career is no longer possible because of that. It's just shifting. I think that's what's happening, you know. Yeah. But it was crazy. Like back then, it wasn't even that long ago. Like in March, like I had friends who were like talking about getting internships, getting paid 100K like straight off for their internship. And like I think that, yeah, it was just kind of nuts during that period of time, and it wasn't even that long ago that that was happening. So just, yeah, interesting changes.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I've got a question for Ben, if
Yeah.
that's all right. Ben, I'm gonna quote, or I'm gonna use this chat as my source, this meetup, but I just don't know what the name of the meetup is anymore. Do you
Oh.
mind just maybe, do you mind just filling me in so I can use it as one of my resources?
Oh no, man! I was on mute there for a little bit. I was just enjoying the conversation and driving myself a little crazy here. I might have to ask for you guys to help me troubleshoot this. I think I'm like 90% of the way there. I know that I want to use this operator. I know I want to use a for loop, and I think I want to use an array, and then I'll just like do like I don't know what the reverse operation of split is right now, and my dog has decided to join us, so I will introduce him formally. Obi!
You want me to- Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
He is a big boy. Yeah.
Do you want to tell? Do you want me to tell you what the opposite of split is, or do you want to look it up?
I think it's join, probably.
That's it.
Yeah.
You are correct.
Right. So actually, I don't know what the expected output is here. So it doesn't look like it actually wants a joined flattened string. I saw one indexed over here, and I thought they were saying that, but first things first. I think J-Man was asking a question, and so let's take care of that. Meetup. Oh, and by the way, if any of you guys want Lunch Club invites, I don't know if you guys have heard of Lunch Club, but it has been pretty cool. I feel like a little creepy, like going on my social stuff on like Twitch and things, but this is like a lot of people who are like strivers, but like it's great. It schedules meetings with people who are in tech, and so I love that it actually came kind of to a buggy place because that doesn't reveal any information. But it's because I'm covering up with Zoom. I'd highly recommend it. I've talked with like people from Walmart. I've talked with people from like startups, and like my next one is with like another person that seems like they have like a strong background from IBM, has like a master's of science in computer science.
Wait, what is this?
It's called lunchclub.com, and it just is like 1 hour long meetups, like mini meetups, one-on-one.
What's their incentive to do it? Just to talk to people?
Like literally no incentive whatsoever. That I can find. It's literally just to chat. And so like my next one is with this like Roman Yusuf guy, right? And so like if I go to LinkedIn, like he sent me a message, and like this is where I feel creepy, right? You know, like I don't mean to like do this on Twitch, but I won't go to messages. I don't know this guy from anything, so I don't feel like weird at least searching him. But like, so Roman Yusuf like worked at Amazon, you know, like worked at IBM. So, you know, and so like tomorrow we're gonna have like an hour meeting, and like I don't know this guy from anybody.
Is there like a topic that you guys have to go through, or is it just like you just talk?
Yeah, like literally, like they say that it's like lunch club, and so you're just supposed to treat it like if you were meeting somebody for lunch. So like, you just give this like little like 5 sentence blurb, and that's it. Yeah. So like I've already had like 2 meetings with it that have been like pretty cool. And like
are they matching you for like what you wrote in the blurb? I'm just wondering how this algorithm works.
Right, you know. And so like if I go to Ben is a software engineer with a past in industrial automation looking to make a difference with intuitive web applications. You know? And so then like I have all my interests down here. So like AI, angel investing, biohacking, you know, et cetera, and I don't know where my zoom is. Oh, there we go. But like you can see it there. Let's reshape this. I'm so bad at Twitch. Like this is gonna be. It can only go up. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Like I mean, like the 2 meetings I've had, like have been awesome, been fire. You know, like. So.
Is it with like, does it match you up with people around the US, or is it anyone who has common interests?
You can set it. Yeah. So like yeah, and sorry to not like be doing too many algorithms, but you can force it to just be like your home city. But you can also local matches only.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like an AI based like I call it like a Tinder or Bumble, you know, just for like, you know, tech and business. Right? Yeah, but it's good. I slowed it down a little bit because like the 2 I did in 1 week was like, I don't know, they're kind of awkward. like I'm already like obnoxious enough to be like on Twitch, but like it's still
it's
like
first date for tech people.
Yeah.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's cool. Like I will say that is that there's been some people the 2 people. I mean like I'm at 100%. I'm batting 100 right now with the 2 ones I've had. So like, and it seems like the one that's coming up is pretty interesting right now. So I don't know if it's just I don't know how to give you guys invites. Like I'm sure that I have like a link or something.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I can't remember how I got invited. But I'll post it somewhere. Chat, community, copy. There we go. Copy to invite. Chat. Oh my gosh, what is going on with Zoom? Oh, thinks I'm blind. Yep. There you go. So, oh, do not end the meeting. But anyways, I was doing something. Yes, I was telling you about what the name of the meetup was. So it is not letting me click on this. Come on. I just got Verizon gigabit internet, and it's still like, maybe it's just confused. Oh, I bet it's confused. Control F5. Oh, it won't even let me click through it. Can you guys go to the page?
What, the meetup?
Yeah. Oh, there it goes. Yeah. It just wouldn't let me go to it from like my front page. I think there might have been like, I don't know, something hanging out. Oh, that would be a good question. Is meetup.com. Meetup.com runs React. I think. Maybe.
Meetup is written in React. Is that what you just said?
I think so. I'm seeing.
Check the tech stack.
Looks like it looks like it is. Yeah. I mean, it's my React dev tools are like responding to it. So yeah.
Right. That was my evidence. Like I didn't know.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. When I was looking at it, I was like, I can't tell if this is like saying that like it's just like trying to break it apart, but like.
Oh, I'm not looking at your Twitch screen right now either. So that's
I gotcha.
not bad.
No worries. No worries. I feel like I bounce around so much, and especially if it's disconnected at all. Like I gotta imagine that I would. Well,
Are you learning React at Flatiron?
yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you have your React dev tools? Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's obviously one of the first things you teach.
Just the extension, right?
Yeah, it's just a great. I mean, it's like it's a
Yeah,
little,
no, I'm using it too.
yeah, it's a little. You know what I recently? You guys use style components, or I don't know if you guys.
Yeah, style components,
I just learned that it has
CSS and JS.
it has a display name property, which I never knew. So that like you can when you create your style component and you display. I don't know if you know this already, but you when you invoke the display name and like give it a name, it'll show up in the DevTools as that name. So you know,
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it's really. I almost want to like create like a script or like something that can, or like an extension that just does it automatically. You know, it just seems like so. It seems so. It's hard to sift through the class names that are auto-generated by style components. So it's good to have that like label for it, you know, in the DevTools.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that.
That is really cool. I knew about styled components, but it was like a smaller portion of our React course. So this might be interesting to you guys, since like this is more active than most of these other ones have been. Like, let's go back to our React. Yeah, so this was our React curriculum, and so we just started where I guess everybody does, through the intro and getting into NPM. We used a lot of Scrimba to like showcase things. Scrimba is a really good service for doing like quick spin-ups of ideas. Destructuring, going through all the building of JSX. States and events, doing use effect hooks.
Nice. Yeah, that looks like a good syllabus. Did you guys do like just regular like JavaScript API stuff like before this, or no?
I had
Like, did you? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no! Oh, I had done some TypeScript construction of UIs in a industrial interface, but like that's about it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so I had like a lot of building of interfaces, but that was my background.
I learned how to do the APIs in JavaScript. It's a pain in the ass.
Mm.
Is that like working with Axios and stuff like that? Is that what you guys are talking about?
No,
No, just vanilla.
yeah, React, vanilla JavaScript, exactly. Like React is, React is just, it's really just invoking that API, like the well, also like you can just use you can just use like create. It's invoking like create element and like find by ID and all that stuff
Yeah.
under the hood, But
Okay, that makes sense.
Surprisingly, and this actually makes sense why why these companies still use it, but jQuery is actually really good. Like, if it wasn't for the fact that jQuery, people consider it to be legacy and everything, it's so like simple that it just like that really makes life easier. But no one, most people don't use jQuery. But I do see a lot of jobs still looking for people who know jQuery. So
Interesting.
yeah, it's the OG. It's the OG. But it's I mean, a lot of stuff has been built on that. I don't know. I mean, I'm very new in this industry as well, but yeah, when you get to know React though, man, React is pretty good. It takes a while to I feel like it's a learning curve for sure. It's different.
I think one of the things is if you go into it knowing HTML, CSS, and just always like thinking in that perspective, going into React is like confusing. And it's only when you start like thinking, oh yeah, React is its own version, it's using HTML. I feel like you just have to change kind of the way you think about web pages, and it'll make a lot more sense.
Yeah,
That's how I felt when I was learning it.
It's a single page application, right? So it's really only one HTML page. That's it.
Right.
I still hate routing. Like, I feel like routing just hurts my brain. But I'm getting better at it. Like, doing the roots in React. Like, for some reason, like, just like the layering of it, like, I would rather have like the chunking separated more. Sometimes I feel like the way that they abstract things, I don't know. JSX is not always my friend, but
Yeah.
just gotta keep
Once you get into like writing custom hooks and stuff like that, like when you really like start, that's cool. I think React got it right with hooks. That's like kind of like saved it.
Nice.
It's just functional programming is just like people aren't even really using class-based components anymore for the most part.
Right.
Which is cool, and I'm sure that you guys are learning all about that because that was like a huge part. We like barely touched class components in my cohort. It was pretty much all functional React. So
I mean, because of all the switches, they're just it basically made it obsolete. Like class components. But I was just like wondering, like in terms of companies, are they still using it?
The code base that I am working in it's funny. It was originally written in Angular JS, and it's not supported anymore, and it's also I don't like it. It's just like giant files, and it's really bad. But the way that their code base is, and we're migrating it to React, so that's kind of like the big project. And so and they tried to do it, a few years ago, and they almost like they formed the code base sort of like it was class based, but they were using functional React. It was weird. Like we were using MobX and like for state management and some other stuff, and it was kind of like set up as like an MVC kind of system.
Yeah.
And we're completely scrapping that. and we're going towards this pure like hooks, like pure functional like front end.
I think at that point, like it's just I guess it depends on how big your code base is. If it's too bloated, then maybe that's not the case. But
there's
if
things
it's
like
not, yeah.
there's things like error boundaries and like some other things and like that you may want to still use class components for, but for the most part, yeah, we're just trying to build just components, just functional components,
Right. Because it's just faster, it's simpler, it's easier to read. It just it makes a lot of sense.
Why can't you just have default dark mode everything? I feel like when I start like changing what site I'm on, I can tell that you guys are all just like.
Maybe you should
Oh.
add the extension or code
Oh,
an
really?
extension. That could be your personal project.
Yeah. Firefox dark mode default.
I know Chrome has a default dark mode. I think
Yeah.
it makes everything dark.
No, it's hard to I think disappear during like some of these streams because like you almost need like a critical mass, right? And so like, but it's great. Like, I mean, this is kind of what I wanted was like podcast style conversation around like what is going on in the development world because I felt like for the past 2 years I've just been doing so much remote work or site work either way that like there hasn't been as many interactions for me to like just other than following YouTubers, following Twitter, but I feel like even just knowing the right questions to ask. Like when you said Mern Stack, I was like, what am I doing? Like, what have I done? Like, why did I do a boot camp? You know, and so like, that's where I'm just like ecstatic
Well, I
about
mean,
tonight and like the
right,
conversations.
right.
Oh, but go ahead. Yeah.
No, sorry to interrupt. I was just thinking like from because I was kind of in a similar situation when I first got into it, where I'm just like, oh yeah, the school is going to teach me what I need to know, and about this industry and get my exposure. But it's really not like that, especially with programming. I feel like it's more that you kind of need to find that exposure on your own. And I've realized this only in the past couple of months, where it's like you have to kind of just like try to find out for yourself. So like there was this survey that this one of these tutorial guys on YouTube had sent out. And on that survey, it basically just lists out all the different resources for learning JavaScript. And it was crazy. It was like a huge list. It had podcasts on it. It had like newsletters on it. It had like article stuff. And then I was like, I didn't realize that this community was this vast, like in terms of just the pure learning aspect of it. And that's when I was like, kind of a light bulb went off in my head that like, if I want to know this stuff, I'm gonna have to just go and find it because like the schools are not going to teach me this. Like they're seeing it more from the perspective of like almost like Code Academy or Free Code Camp, like these like tutorial site type of things where it's just like I'm going to teach you this specific thing and then that's it. Like it's not like they're not coming from the perspective of maybe like a university where they're like, oh yeah, like I'm teaching all the different aspects of it. Yeah, that's kind of not to be not to be in a mean way or anything or a negative way, but like I just I that's the vibe that I got. It's just you gotta go after it. Yeah, and I'm talking to myself too when I say these things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have a couple of I'll send it to you
Yeah.
maybe in the chat of a couple of these like newsletters that go out from these like there's like a JavaScript newsletter, there's Front End Weekly, there's Node Weekly where like they just send you these newsletters of like updates of what's going on right now in like the industry and stuff. So yeah, no, I feel the same way. Like I think that in terms of just talking to people, like actually talking to people instead of just me reading like an article, I found that to be a little bit hard, especially at this skill level. Like maybe if we're seasoned professionals or whatever, we could find other people. But at this point where we're just starting off, I find I'm in a similar situation where it's hard to find other people to talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it just doesn't. I don't know. Like, there's just not like a place to do it, and so. Yeah, I mean, there's tons of them. I say that. Like, I mean, it's almost like there's too many at the same time as there's not enough. Like, and like everybody who has started one of these like has probably already like graduated and is further along. So I think sometimes you just have to do a fresh start and try something again. Maybe fail the same way, but yeah, no, I think that this is a good pathway for it. So Luke, are you trying to get a job like right now, or is it more like you're okay with like doing like the Fiverr and like the freelancing
No, I'm trying to get a job right
Yeah,
now.
that's like the full,
This is part of it.
like
Yeah.
full
This
force.
is part of it. I've applied to like 50 places in like the past like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Like I think every day I get alerts from like 4 different like job sites like Indeed and ZipRecruiter and all of these crazy things because I'm just trying to, like it's I would say like for people who are not at this because it's getting to the point of like I need to get a job kind of situation. But if you had the time, I would say like similar to what Will had been saying, just like just build all the time. Like I would say that that's more important than anything else is just build projects, any project, small projects, work your way to bigger projects. Just that's the best way, like to build your portfolio.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's the biggest regret that I have. Yeah.
I
So
got a quick question for you. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but about your job search, I actually find it. There was a question I wanted to ask, and that was, for example, my area when I go to do job searches, I'm a little bit away from maybe like an hour off of DC, so fairly close. And to really start looking for any junior development jobs, you have to drive a bit, especially for me, you got to drive maybe like an hour and a half to get to where you want to be. Was there a point where you like kind of were searching and you weren't finding anything within your area, and then you kind of had to expand past like state borders or something like that to start looking for jobs that weren't
that's a good
job.
question. That's a good question. So what I've been doing actually, and this is probably a holdover from March, last March, is I've been like looking for almost not exclusively, but like very much so towards remote jobs.
Okay.
Like there are situations where they want hybrid. That's like I see a lot of hybrid positions. Like they want you to come in basically like 2 or 3 times a week. But there's also actual job sites specifically for remote positions. Or you could filter for remote positions. Like because like random places are hiring. Like you could see some job ads for like Florida or like Texas
Right.
or something.
Mhm.
So like as long as they're okay with it, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to apply to those places. I think in the past people were always like saying, "Oh yeah, you have to move to the city that's like popular for programming, like San Francisco or New York or Toronto or whatever." But like I think that as much as people keep saying that we're moving back towards being in person, I think that there are still a decent amount of remote positions out there, as long as you have the skills that they want. And for some reason, for whatever reason, New York it's C sharp. So if you want to work at remote New York positions, learn C sharp. That's my recommendation. But yeah, like I would say like yeah, you could probably try still applying for like remote positions. There's filters, like you could click on a filter for remote. That would probably be helpful. But yeah, like that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, just because I'd seen like there's only so many jobs that are hiring for junior development within my area, so then I was started thinking about whether at some point you just have to be like, okay, well, I'm ready to move, or if you can't find that remote job as a junior developer, like, are you willing to relocate somewhere else for you
Yeah,
to
I
get an
mean,
opportunity?
right. No, I think that if you're gonna go that, like, it depends on just how desperate you are. Like, I think you should first really try for these like remote type positions that aren't too far from you. Or I mean, like that are like they could be farther or whatever. If there is something that's like at least like within an hour from you, because the thing is like even though I'm in New York City, like oh yeah, it's New York City and whatever, it's still like I'm not in Manhattan, so it still takes me 2 hours if I was to do a commute, like not by car, to get in to the city. So like I'm still in a similar situation as you in that like it would be a pain in the ass to like try to get into these places. So I understand that kind of concern. But I guess after you do that search and you're not finding a remote position, then yeah, I mean, I guess you could question that. But I would say research is your best option there. Like if you would go onto like say for instance like Indeed.com, you could change the location, check out what types of jobs are most available, and pick your way through that. Yeah, but I'm talking this is kind of blind leads the blind situation because I don't have a job yet. So if anyone is more qualified to talk about it, it's probably Will. I mean, Will, is your job close to you? That's actually a good question.
I am 100% remote actually, but I was in the office is in New York. I used to live in New York, but I don't anymore. So yeah, I lucked out on that. There's a lot of jobs that are 100% remote nowadays too, but so yeah, so that's the answer, yeah.
There you go. There you go. So you
Um,
could find a remote position possibly.
You totally can. Yeah. A lot. I mean, our company is pretty much 100% Slack based and like Zoom based, you know. Slack, I don't know, you guys probably use Slack, I would assume for
Yeah. Are your stand-ups in Slack or do you use Zoom?
we do the stand-ups in Zoom, but we could although yeah, I mean screen sharing we're using huddles in Slack, which have been great because if you've used them, which you probably have at this point, because you can share more than one screen at a time, which is kind of nice.
Like,
This is another question actually. Well, just to go on top of that question, I'm assuming you're doing like paired programming, right?
Yeah, I'm on the yes. More or less. We take like tickets. We take tickets and sort of work on them individually, but we do pair quite a bit. And yeah, right now we're doing a migration of we're doing a language migration and
Right.
we're doing what's called the strangulation method, which is like which sounds morbid and weird, but it's when you're trying to shed your code base of another language.
Right.
Yeah, and you're essentially just like piece by piece putting it together, and you have to connect the two languages together with a third party, which is a total. So it's kind of a nightmare, but
You know, what's crazy is you're the second person I spoke with that's migrating to React. Like your company's migrating to React.
yeah, it's we're just making it. We want to make it so that when new developers come in, it will be like because that was the big thing for me when I went in there, and I was like, whoa, this is like it's just really difficult to understand. I think that's with a lot of code bases, obviously, but this will slim it down so much, and just being able to get rid of like directories, you know what I mean, that are just taking up space that they're convoluting. Yeah. Is good. So we're trying to, and again, I'm very new at it, but I'm learning from a lot of senior devs how to write React code that is going to be, first of all, as stateless as possible. Is important, I think, and also like that it's just easy for developers to go in there and like, things are clearly labeled and like and they can follow the flow and things like that.
The documentation.
And they can reuse components, in such a way that they can use them again, and it's easy for them to use. They don't have to change anything in the component, blah blah blah.
Are you constantly like testing? Like
I have not been, well, yes, manually, but I've just started to become familiar with actually like writing automated tests, which I highly recommend doing. But I'm just trying to adopt like test-driven development sort of like practices as of recently, but we have QAs in the company too that like it goes through a round of kind of dedicated QA. Yeah. So,
right.
And people need to review the code, just like so then they need to review it and obviously like approve it. And
are you writing in TypeScript or is this actually still Java?
Yes. Yeah, I'm writing in TypeScript. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, TypeScript is pretty. I think that it's going to be pretty essential. I don't know if there's.
They're making it sound like that's basically like.
Yeah,
no one is writing in just Java.
Yeah, I mean TypeScript is just. I mean, really, TypeScript is just like a superset of JavaScript.
Right.
Yeah. So it's just another. There's people at my work. They're like, but at what cost? Yeah. Anyways.
Cool. Thanks.
So it seems like there's a big push for React. So I'm only now about to start learning about React in my program itself. I'm like maybe a module away from it. Any tips maybe or any Any suggestions when it comes to React? It seems like it's going to be a pretty big module. So because I'm looking at the syllabus right now, and it's probably a month long.
Yeah.
Any tips on it, or
It's going to take longer than a month.
yeah, I'm sure there'll be a lot more studying behind the scenes than just the 1 month they say. But was there anything that you guys kind of took away that you guys kind of would kind of drill back into your memories, like something that you really had to study that kind of made your React experience easier, I guess?
That could take a while. I think that the important thing to remember, and you'll learn this as a basic concept when you start, but like React they started the virtual DOM, like the VDOM. So like it's like the whole point of React is there's a virtual DOM that sits on top of the actual of the document object model, and then renders to the actual DOM. So it's like you're looking at a fake DOM basically. And then when it renders, it paints onto the real DOM. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so the reason why it's important is because you have state, like your state in your application won't stay synced up. So like you'll like change the state of something, like change a variable name or something in another component, and then it won't like show on the screen until you like refresh. And that's because it needs to re-render to repaint it. So you need to learn about that, like sort of like pay attention to the fact that there is like things that can get out of sync, and like how do you prevent that from happening. That's really that's the biggest challenge with React at first, I think, when you first start using it. You're like, why didn't that change? And like, why is it, like, why does it change only after I hit this button? Things like that. So it's because each separate component can render separately. So that's, I would say that was really hard to understand at first.
High for rendering. I think my bootcamp right now, for me at the beginning, I thought it was just kind of jumping all over the place, and I'm not sure if this is some of y'all's experiences to where your modules would kind of start off with maybe basic JavaScript or basic CSS, and you would dive into something that wasn't necessarily related, and then come back into CSS like 8 modules afterwards. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So we learned CSS at the very beginning, like the very basics, and that was during like the orientation and stuff like that, module probably 2, and now we're going back into it at module 19, where we're looking into the DOM, and they're kind of tying that in with React, because I'm assuming from what I'm looking at it that the DOM in JavaScript and the DOM in React kind of work off of each other, is what it looks like.
Java. So the DOM that you're talking about right now is the browser. So it's the document object model that's being run off the browser. So when they say like DOM manipulation, which is what it sounds like you're doing right now, it's when the JavaScript it's using the browser's tools, methods to do stuff, right?
Okay.
And to change basically the CSS. Now, what Will's talking about is he's talking about how React creates a fake DOM that it goes through first before it ever goes through the actual DOM on the browser.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. So when we're saying DOM, what we're basically just talking about is the system that the browser is using. Like it's how your web pages are set up on the web browser. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for clarifying that. I appreciate it.
Right. As far as React is concerned, Will, what he said is like right on the nail. But I think for me going into it, I had issues with just object-oriented programming and like separation of concerns. So when we talk about components, that's what we're talking about. It's just breaking everything down into chunks. That's essentially what what React does, like what makes React great. I mean, what React does is the whole DOM situation, but I think that what makes React great and what makes these other, even the other languages, because I've been spending my time looking at other languages, because again, C# is what makes money. But yeah, so if you look at it, what makes them all similar is this whole concept of putting everything into these components, putting them into chunks to make it easier for people to read, easier for people to not make mistakes. Because what ends up happening is with JavaScript, if you just had vanilla JavaScript and put it all together in one, you get this giant mass of code that basically looks like spaghetti. That's where spaghetti code comes from. That term is just so complicated that it's hard to tell what's going on. So what React is doing, like one of the core principles of React, is to break everything up into easy to read chunks so that you can see it and understand it. Because like that's what's most important, is everyone has to understand what they're looking at. So yeah, I would say that that's probably the big part of React, is to understand that that's what they're doing. They're just trying to make everything simpler.
I like that. I think I appreciate how you the way you broke that down. I think a lot of times we're learning new ideas through this boot camp. I don't know what kind of background you guys had before you joined.
See,
boot
this
camps
is
and
how you
stuff like
can
that.
tell I was a tutor.
Well, no, I think like a lot of people who start their boot camps, they kind of come from different backgrounds. Some people have already had experience with what they're trying to achieve and stuff like that, while others might be completely new. For myself, I'm very much new to all this, and so when I'm learning, I think my biggest problem is trying to see how it fits in the big picture, because they don't really talk about a lot of that, like how is this going to impact your website in the long run, or how is it going to make it helpful. So understanding that React is there to break down, to make it more user friendly, I guess, to make it more readable to people who are trying to find a certain problem, that makes it easier to understand why it's so important.
Yeah.
That,
I mean, React is so like before jQuery and stuff. I don't even know if jQuery this came from jQuery, but like Apple, like websites were just like the page would like the whole page would render, and that would like eventually started to just be like taxing. And so what React does is just it only renders you can render only part of the page, so it won't re-render the whole page. That's kind of the
okay.
React. Yeah. There was another thing I wanted to say that the other thing is that don't get confused about hooks. There's hooks in React that are like use, and they're prefaced with the word use. So it's like, and it's just kind of like a naming convention. So it's like there's like use state, which is just basically a way of keeping track of a state variable, like a string or something like that. Those are really just functions, right? So like if anything that says like use state, use effect, those are just functions. Like everything's a function in React, So you can just think of it like that. I mean, they're a little bit different, but you're gonna learn about hooks, and all the hooks are functions. So it's good to keep that in mind as well when you're reading the code, because they're just functions that return something. That's all. And they usually don't return JSX. Like you learn about JSX. I think I'm getting too into it, but you're.
No. It's like what you guys are talking about. It's literally right around the corner. I'm a module away from
Okay.
like starting with React and stuff, like rendering with
But
React.
I don't think he knows what JSX is, though.
Yeah,
not yet,
JSX.
not
When I
yet.
said JSX, I was like, yeah, that's a little bit. But you'll learn about that. It's just it's JavaScript really.
Yeah.
Not HTML. It looks like it, but it's not.
But back like
HTML.
that, I think that it was a funny thing that you had said before about how like it's to make JavaScript easier. That's actually what all of this stuff is for. Like frameworks in general is to make things actually easier for the developers, easier for them to see. All of this junk is just all here to make our lives as developers easier in terms of making these programs. Like that's what it's funny because all these big programs that are like advertising to us about like the next great language or next great framework, they're advertising to us. They're advertising to developers. They're trying to figure out ways to make our lives easier in terms of like keeping our code organized and stuff like that. So that's something to always take into consideration when it comes to like why are you learning these things? Well, we're learning these things because we're trying to make it so that our code doesn't suck and it's easier to code. And so something to think about.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Uh, just in case you guys are watching the Twitch stream at all, I did pull up my React project from our phase 2 React a piece. I know that it gets a little disjointed trying to watch what is being said and what's being displayed in the Twitch stream. I don't know if I can do a share screen here. Also, I might get a little goofy, but I don't see why not. Can you guys see the share screen now in Zoom?
Yeah. Yeah, we can.
Yeah, so maybe that's going to be a little less headachy. Yeah. So, anyways, this is my React app, and then like, so what I have is like I'm actually using, like, when he talks about hooks, I'm using 2 hooks here. Like, I'm using a use effect hook, and I'm then using like my use state hooks up here in order to like set species lists and set zoos and all the other good stuff. But like to actually see like the front end of it here, and so like now you have like zoos, and so this is technically a single page application, but like with routing, like it bounces around to all the different like pages that like you can go through. And so this was like our phase 2 project, was to be able to like, you know, remove from zoo, go to an animal, be able to say like, you know, oh cool, look at all these details about this thing, which that's kind of janky actually, but like, and then transfer it to the zoo and actually see it then pop up, hopefully. You know, like, but yeah, that, like, this is a React built project, then like with Bootstrap on top of it for like the navigation bar, then with routing, also I can't remember where the routing comes from. I guess just React router for the DOM. But yeah, like everything feels like it's React. So.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no worries. But
Just stole all your secrets, Ben.
good.
Yeah, copy.
Copy.
Let me just copy the screen right there.
Right.
Copy your project.
Right. Reticulated flatwood salamanders. Yeah. This one was a really cool API though. Like if you did need a good API, there's this one from the ecos fws.gov that like takes you directly to like a really cool amount of information that you can like filter in so many different ways.
What did you use for that drop-down menu, for those drop-down menus? React Select?
Up here?
No, the drop-downs that are in the details.
Oh, these guys? The collapsibles? Yeah, let me look.
Yeah.
Is that material?
So that'd be like zoo, animal card, accordion, React Bootstrap.
Oh, you use
Bootstrap. It's just Bootstrap.
Well, it's React Bootstrap. Yeah, this is one that I'm gonna point it out because this is the one that I screwed up a bunch, where I would always like grab Bootstrap or, you know, grab React only, but yeah, React Bootstrap.
We're using one called Grommet right now, which is it's a whole thing. But it's cool. No, I don't think that's it.
I mean, this is scaring me a little bit for him, for her.
No. Do Grommet like UI or something like that. Because a Grommet is another thing, I think. Yeah, that's it right there. So it's got like you go up to components up in the upper right hand corner, you can like see. So it's just, you know, it's like it's any other
Right.
any
Kind of
other
like material.
But the thing about it that's good is it's very accessibility friendly. So and it's like very mobile first. So that's all. So that's a nice thing to keep in mind if you want to use it. It's a little bit of a, you know, every like UI library has its like ups and downs, you know, but I find this to be pretty cool. It's just sort of easy, and you use like t-shirt sizes, and you can like set global. It's all theme based, right? So it's like you can pass in like themes, and if you're and make things like more theme aware, which is kind of cool as well. Um, and the docs are kind of blah, but their storybook is really good. So if you ever like, if you want to go into their storybook, which is down on the, down on the
So it's
left,
next to the sandbox.
yeah.
I gotcha. Thank you.
And then you can kind of go through them and look at the code, and it's pretty and like play with
Gotcha.
examples and stuff. So it's pretty cool. Yeah.
I found that to be the most shocking thing about React when I was building my portfolio website, was that like, so I made a collapsible accordion in JavaScript, right, and CSS.
Right.
But then I was like, why can't I figure out how to do that in React? Like no matter what I did, I couldn't figure it out. And then finally I had to grab a third party to put it in. And that's when I realized React did this on purpose. Like they were just like, you have to have a third party to put anything, like any type of thing into your code. So I just, yeah, that was like kind of a mind like epiphany of like, oh, they did this on purpose. Like they intentionally didn't put stuff into the code,
Huh.
into the framework for you.
Oh, that's
Because they
strange.
wanted you to use third party stuff. Yeah.
I didn't realize they would. I mean, like I guess like it's so new to me that I don't know what the default is, and so like, right.
There is no default. That's the point.
Right. Yeah. Like,
not in React.
but like, yeah,
But
that's
they
what
do
I-
this on purpose because they
Yeah.
want it to be more customizable. Like you can choose which libraries to use, like third-party libraries, like Grommet, like Material, like all these things. Is like the whole idea is that you get to choose what kind of library you're going to use. That's what makes it different from Angular. Like the reason why people always complain about Angular being so bloated is because they all the libraries are in there. Like you have to use their stuff. Like there is no third party stuff for Angular. Like you use the stuff that's in there. It's an actual true framework. Whereas with React, it's more like a library. So like it gives you those options. So yeah, that was kind of a brain kind of fart when I was like, why can't I find this?
Huh. It is a library. Yeah. Use the term.
Yeah.
It's not a frame. Oh, that's a huge thing. Yeah, apparently it's not a framework. It's a library. Yeah, like you just say.
Yeah.
But you can make it. You can if you apply strict rules to your code base, then it sort of like becomes. It's much different than Angular, obviously. Angular's
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like the good part about React is its heavily customizability. Like you can like put in what you want in there, Whereas with Angular, you're kind of forced to follow their rules. So you get freedom with React. That's why people like it. It's also faster to put together and less bloaty than Angular. So yeah, so I guess in that sense it's a preference thing, but to get hired, you have to go after the popular one. To be honest, like if it was up to me, I'd be learning either Svelte or Vue. Those would be the two frameworks I would actually want to learn. But since I don't get to choose these things, React and Angular, that's the thing to go after.
Have you looked at Solid at all?
Oh, I heard of Solid. I
Yeah.
haven't used it though.
This is one that I just like spun up about a week or two ago. I just did like a small little test branch, but I don't know. It seemed interesting, like how it was built, but like it literally like didn't put anything into it. I just did the fork and the basics to it, but yeah, there's so many out there, and like I mean like I feel like some of the instructors that I've had like are just like, oh no, like don't worry about it, like things change so quickly, just learn these basics, and I think that is true. Like that, I don't know, like I feel like I was too anxious about it right when we were starting about whether this was like the right boot camp or should I drop out now and find a different one, but now like I'm just like, oh no, like it's always changing, and like there's always going to be like a lot of challenges out there and trying to like stay current, but that's just the name of the game.
Yeah, I mean, this is more of a we are senior developers who get to choose kind of situation
Right.
where this will come up for us. I feel like with us, we just have to go after what's popular. But Vue is actually one of the three most popular ones. So it's Vue, Angular, and React
Yeah.
are the most popular for JavaScript. So like, yeah, I mean, pick your poison. That's probably the situation. But another thing is that I noticed, especially with React, is like they are eating that up. Like every Shopify has now taken React and made Hydrogen, which is their framework now. Shopify's huge. What should call it? WordPress. Its WooCommerce is runs on React, so like you should learn React, for it. So like React has so much more applications than just specifically in terms of just using React just as React. These are all CMSs that I was talking about, content management systems. So like, that's why it's good to start off with React, and then, it just expands from there. And that's just kind of the direction that everything seems to be going. So it's definitely, you're not losing when it comes to learning React. I don't regret learning React, even though I keep complaining about how like, oh, everyone wants Angular all of a sudden, but like it is definitely in demand thing that has a consistent future. So.
Yeah, I mean, like, there's just so many pieces, but hey, I'm gonna start wrapping this up. I have not ate dinner yet today. I was planning on like transitioning this into maybe like an hour of gaming and an hour of problem solving, but like I love where this flowed into, and like this was awesome. If you're looking for the FizzBuzz answer, I think this one works. I don't think it's very efficient, but it does it. I think it does it. Yeah, it does it. Passes.
Nice.
But
good job.
Thank you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't have a. Like I'm not. I don't have a login for this, so I was just. But you should see mine. Mine is so hacked.
Yeah.
I'll post it in the chat. Can you just plug it in there for me?
Yeah. I'll see if it works.
Oh, and can I get I don't know if you guys are willing, but can I get your LinkedIn's, man?
Yeah, sure. It's my name, brother. It's that one right there.
Yeah, I posted mine in the chat. If you guys want to just connect to me, and I'll post it in. Shoot. Oh my gosh, I had 12 viewers at one point. Holy shit.
Awesome.
That's awesome. If you guys want to follow me on Twitch, I don't know. This was my first time ever streaming. So but anyways, like this was awesome. You guys were like excellent to have in here. Like I don't know if you guys were all first timers, but this was like the best conversation I've had in this yet. So, but I'm going to end the stream and I'm going to close down the Zoom. Feel free to add me on LinkedIn. You can always reach me, like just post a message. If you guys want to become admins and like do your own streams or like do anything with the group, feel free. You have like just to ask, and I will make you guys admin level people who can just create your own events and do similar stuff or do whatever you want. Like, I don't really care. So,
well, it's nice to meet you all. Thank you, Ben, for putting this together.
Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Cool. All right. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
All right. Have a good night.